How long do you have to file a motorcycle accident claim in California? For most injury cases, the short answer is usually 2 years from the date of the injury. California courts' self-help guidance also says property damage claims are generally 3 years from the date of the damages. So in this video, I want to walk through the filing deadlines that matter in California motorcycle accident cases, the traps people miss, and why waiting too long can damage a case even before the legal deadline arrives. For California motorcycle accident cases involving bodily injury, the general rule is that you usually have 2 years from the date of the injury. California court's self-help material says that plainly. That is a general statute of limitation frame most people are referring to when they say you have 2 years. And for many riders, that is a starting point, because the phrase usually matters. Deadlines can change depending on who's involved, what is being claimed, and whether special rules apply. But no serious rider should hear 2 years and treat that like a reason to relax. If you're talking about damages to the motorcycle or other property, California court says the general deadline is 3 years from the date of the damage. That distinction matters because some cases involve both injury claims, property damage claims, and those categories do not always move on the same track. It's one of the biggest traps in the entire subject. If the claim may involve a government agency, California courts say you generally need to submit a government claim within 6 months from the injury if you're seeking money for personal injury or damage to property you own. That is a very different timeline than the usual 2 years injury deadline. And this matters more often than people realize. Why? Because a motorcycle accident case might involve a city vehicle, county vehicle, state agency vehicle, roadway design issues, road maintenance issues, dangerous public property conditions, public entity involved of some kind. California court's self-help guidance also says the government generally has 45 days to respond to a government claim. This may be the most important practical point in the video. You don't have to miss the deadline to damage the case. Waiting hurts early. It hurts because surveillance footage disappears. It hurts because witnesses stop answering calls or forget the details. It hurts because damaged vehicles get repaired, moved, or sold. It hurts because the scene evidence vanishes. And it hurts because the defense gets time to shape the story while your side loses momentum. The real lesson is move early enough to preserve what the case still has. Here are some of the biggest mistakes people make after a motorcycle accident in California. First, they assume insurance claims and lawsuit deadlines are the same thing. They're not. Second, they assume that because treatment is ongoing, the filing deadline can be ignored for now. That is dangerous. Third, they assume they will deal with it later once they feel better. And fourth, they assume 2 years is a long time. In legal terms, it can disappear quickly. California courts repeatedly emphasize that you need to know the right deadline for your case and meet it, because if you don't, you can lose automatically. People tend to think of a deadline as a calendar problem, but in injury cases, there are strategy problems, because the closer a case gets to a hard deadline, the less room there is to investigate properly, preserve evidence, identify all responsible parties, analyze insurance coverage, deal with government claim requirements, correct bad assumptions early, and build the case with discipline instead of urgency. That's why waiting rarely helps. It usually narrows options. And motorcycle cases in particular often need time to be developed correctly. If you were injured in a motorcycle accident in California, don't wait until the deadline feels close. Book your call with me today and let's talk through the timeline, the facts, and any deadline issues that may affect your case before waiting turns into a problem. So if you take one thing from this final video, let it be this. For most injury claims, the general rule is usually 2 years from the injury. For property damage, it is generally 3 years from the damage. And if a government entity may be involved, the timeline can be much shorter, with a government claim usually due within 6 months. That is why the right move is not waiting. It's getting clarity early. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident in California, book your call with me today and let's talk about your next steps.